Hello friends, welcome to your IELTS exam guide. Today's topic is IELTS Writing Task 1, describing graphs and charts. But before we proceed further, let me introduce our expert today, who can make data sound as fun as your favorite Bollywood number. So, welcome ma'am.
Thank you. So glad to hear to demystify charts, graphs and everything in between. Let's make writing task 1 your friend.
Alright, let's start with the basics. What is this task all about?
Pretty simple actually. In task 1 you get graphs, charts, maps, plans. Your job is to explain the data that is given in simple terms. No opinions, no personal information. You just have to talk about trends, comparison and patterns. Think of yourself as a news anchor for data.
Got it. What kind of visuals can students expect?
There are two main types. One is graphs and charts, another is maps and processes. Graphs and charts, you have to explain the data which is given in the form of either a pie chart, a bar chart, a table, or it could be a combination of either of these. In terms of maps and processes, basically there could be a process, steps involved in a process like how to make a pizza. You will have to describe those steps, or a map comparison over the years.
Okay, I got my visuals. What's the first step?
One is to analyze. Take 2-3 minutes to understand the image and the data that is given. Look for trends, what is rising, what is falling, what is remaining constant, extremes, what is the highest point, what is the lowest point, and comparisons. How do the categories differ from one another? For example, if the chart is talking about fruits, sales of fruits, so mention what if bananas beat the apples or something along those lines.
Bananas always win. What is next?
Step 2. Plan your answer. Stick to the structure. Do not deviate from it. Number 1, introduction. Introduction is where you paraphrase the information that is given to you. For example, the bar chart illustrates the sales of fruits over the given period of time. Number 2 would be an overall. Mention the big picture here. No numbers. Remember, no numbers, no data. For example, the sales of bananas were highest, whereas the grapes were sold the least. And third is body. In body, divide your data into logical parts. For example, data related to time could be in one category and comparisons could be in another category.
And how do you keep it logical?
Group similar data together. To be logical, it's important that your data belongs to the same set. Do not jump from bananas to mangoes and then back again. In this example, you could mention all the fruits with high sales first and then the lowest. To do otherwise would confuse the examiner.
Sounds like a plan, but what if students freeze up?
Happens all the time. Remember, you are not writing a novel. It's not rocket science. Keep your language simple and vocabulary relevant. For increases, mention words like grew, climbed, rose. For decreases, you can mention fall, drop, plummet. For stability, you can mention consistent, constant. For comparison, higher than, lower than, in comparison to. This kind of vocabulary must be a part of your repertoire and you should use it. Also, remember, practice with sample charts. The more you practice, the better you'll be.
Now, any tips for specific visuals?
Let's tackle a few. First, bar charts. So in case of bar chart, focus on extremes and comparison. For example, in 2024, bananas outsold apples by 50%. Next would be line graph. Talk about trends over the time. For example, cities A's population grew steadily while city B's declined. When it comes to pie chart, highlight proportions. Say housing made up of 40% of spending. For processes, use linking words. For example, first, next, finally, subsequently. So first coffee beans are harvested and then dried and finally packaged.
And what about maps?
Maps. They are all about changes taking place over time. In this case, use words like expanded, replaced, demolished. For example, by 2024, the park was replaced by a shopping mall.
And what about common mistakes and don'ts?
Skipping the overview. You cannot skip the overview. Always include a summary of main trends. Number 2, describing everything. Focus on key features only and not every single tiny detail. Number 3, misreading the data. Check those labels and units properly. Check them twice. Don't confuse thousands with millions. Number 4, poor organization. random points are presented in a haphazard manner. Don't do that. Structure is the king.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. And to all our viewers, for more such insights, stay tuned and keep watching.